Mat Armstrong, a man known for taking crash-damaged supercars and restoring them to perfection, has embarked on his most ambitious project yet, a wrecked Bugatti Chiron. This isn't just another rebuild video for the YouTube community. What started as a highly technical restoration project has quickly evolved into a fascinating story about the complex relationship between ultra-luxury car manufacturers, independent repair specialists, and the owners who depend on both. At the center of this unfolding drama is Bugatti itself, a brand that has chosen to stay almost completely silent despite the growing controversy. Their lack of response has raised questions about modern automotive practices, customer rights, and how much control a manufacturer has over a car once it leaves the factory. Armstrong's project exposes a unique tension in the automotive world: the balance between innovation and safety, independence and brand protection, as well as pride and practicality. Every step he takes toward rebuilding the Chiron puts him at the intersection of admiration and controversy: admiration for his skill and vision, and controversy for challenging the norms set by the ultra-exclusive world of hypercars. The fact that Bugatti has refrained from engaging publicly has made the story even more compelling, forcing enthusiasts, journalists, and industry observers to speculate about the reasons behind their silence. The controversy began when Mat Rimac, CEO of Bugatti Rimac, released a detailed video explaining why the company would not support Armstrong's Chiron rebuild. The video, nearly 10 minutes long, was methodically structured, walking viewers through every technical and safety reason why the project could not receive official support. Rimac did not dismiss Armstrong out of hand. Instead, he explained the strict procedures that Bugatti enforces for any structural repair or restoration. He outlined the company's intensive safety protocols, the sophisticated airbag calibration systems that require proprietary diagnostic equipment, and the need for factory-level access to verify every repair. He went further to describe the specialized lifts, climate-controlled environments, and containment measures required for the vehicle's exotic materials. Rimac emphasized the rigorous training programs Bugatti technicians must complete before they are allowed to work on a Chiron. Even authorized service centers are not exempt from these strict standards. The CEO also highlighted the complexity of the Chiron's carbon fiber monocoque chassis, noting that incorrect repairs could compromise the structural integrity of the car in ways that might not become apparent until catastrophic failure occurs. The video was carefully crafted to present Bugatti as a responsible guardian of safety rather than a company seeking to restrict independent rebuilds for profit. Despite this detailed explanation, the automotive community quickly responded. Armstrong himself engaged in the discussion, leaving measured, specific comments on Rimac's video that questioned some of the company's claims. He raised doubts about part availability and highlighted examples of repairs considered impossible by Bugatti that independent shops routinely handle. FXG, a well-known automotive YouTuber, released a video breaking down Rimac's statements, countering each technical claim with examples from other manufacturers and real-world industry standards. Armstrong followed up with his own video, diving deeper into perceived contradictions, showing that some parts claimed to be proprietary share numbers with other Volkswagen Group vehicles. His analysis suggested that not all obstacles described by Bugatti were as insurmountable as initially presented. These responses created a situation that demanded further explanation from Bugatti, or so the community expected. However, the company's official channels remained silent. Days passed, then weeks, and no further statements were issued. This silence was deliberate and strategic, and it became the defining feature of the controversy, leaving both Armstrong and the broader automotive community guessing about the manufacturer's true intentions. The silence sparked two main interpretations. Some observers believe Bugatti cares deeply about the rebuild and has chosen silence to avoid drawing attention to potential vulnerabilities or discrepancies in their claims. If Armstrong succeeds, questions about the proprietary nature of components, airbag calibration, and repair difficulty could be exposed, potentially challenging the carefully crafted image of the Chiron as an impossibly complex hypercar. These observers argue that Bugatti's silence is a form of strategic avoidance, letting the public debate itself out while the company maintains plausible deniability. On the other hand, another group believes Bugatti genuinely does not care about Armstrong's project. From this perspective, the company's initial video was thorough, professional, and final. Responding to every comment or YouTube critique would be beneath a luxury brand's dignity and would elevate the controversy unnecessarily. This interpretation suggests that Bugatti's silence is a calculated decision to maintain authority and avoid appearing defensive, effectively shifting the burden of proof entirely onto Armstrong. The company does not need to respond to every challenge because the ultimate success or failure of the rebuild will speak louder than any statement they could make. This strategy of silence has multiple layers of psychological and strategic impact. Armstrong is left operating under the looming question of whether his work matters to the company at all. Each progress update, each video he posts, exists under the shadow of a brand that has chosen not to engage. This pressure can be more challenging than facing active opposition because it creates uncertainty. He does not know if the obstacles he encounters are legitimate limitations or simply perceived challenges designed to reinforce Bugatti's image. For the public, this silence generates speculation, discussion, and engagement, often more than any official statement could achieve. By refusing to respond, Bugatti preserves its image of confidence and authority while allowing Armstrong's project to unfold under close scrutiny. The company can observe, document, and react at a later stage if necessary, all without appearing reactive or defensive. Silence, in this context, becomes a strategic tool, controlling the narrative without direct confrontation. Bugatti's silence also raises broader questions about the nature of ownership and repair in the luxury car industry. Owners of mass-market vehicles are accustomed to independent mechanics, aftermarket parts, and repair freedom. However, hypercar manufacturers maintain strict control over servicing, certification, and replacement components. This approach protects brand image, ensures safety, and preserves value, but it also creates tension with enthusiasts who wish to take a more hands-on approach. Armstrong's project exemplifies this tension. By attempting a full restoration without factory support, he challenges the assumption that such vehicles are only serviceable by the manufacturer. It is a test of whether ultra-luxury cars are truly beyond independent repair, or whether careful, knowledgeable specialists can achieve the same results with patience and expertise. The outcome has implications not just for Armstrong, but for all owners, independent shops, and the perception of hypercar repairability. The strategic silence from Bugatti has had a fascinating ripple effect across the automotive community. YouTube commentators, car enthusiasts, and industry insiders have all weighed in, creating an informal debate that spans social media, forums, and news outlets. This reaction demonstrates how modern car culture is shaped not just by the vehicles themselves, but by the stories surrounding them. Armstrong's project became more than a technical rebuild. It turned into a public test of Bugatti's messaging, authority, and credibility. Observers are divided between admiration for Armstrong's audacity and curiosity about Bugatti's response. Some speculate that the company's decision to remain silent may be a calculated gamble, using Armstrong as an unofficial proof point. If he succeeds, it demonstrates that the Chiron, while incredibly sophisticated, is not untouchable. If he fails, the result validates Bugatti's original position, reinforcing the narrative that these cars require factory-level intervention. This dual outcome creates a situation in which Bugatti maintains the upper hand regardless of Armstrong's progress, and the suspense of the rebuild becomes a powerful tool to control public perception without issuing a single additional statement. From a psychological perspective, Bugatti's silence places Armstrong in an unusual position. He is essentially performing in front of an invisible judge, one that has immense authority, yet chooses not to interact. This creates heightened stress as every decision, adjustment, or milestone becomes a potential point of scrutiny without clarity on what standards will ultimately be judged. It's akin to shadowboxing. Armstrong can see the target, understand the rules, but receives no direct feedback from the most powerful participant in the scenario. Each completed task could either impress the world or be interpreted as insufficient by the standards of the manufacturer he challenges. In contrast, if Bugatti had openly responded to every question, the pressure would be distributed differently, with each claim or objection addressed directly. By remaining silent, Bugatti forces Armstrong, and by extension the audience, to grapple with uncertainty, maintaining tension, and keeping engagement high across every video, comment, and social media discussion. The implications of this conflict extend beyond Armstrong and Bugatti. It raises important questions about ownership rights in the luxury car market. Ordinary car owners are accustomed to repairing or modifying their vehicles independently, often using third-party parts or mechanics. Hypercar owners, however, are subject to strict controls, proprietary technologies, and limited service options. This situation highlights the gap between public perception and the reality of vehicle maintenance in the high-end automotive market. Armstrong's rebuild challenges the assumption that ultra-luxury vehicles can only be serviced through factory-approved channels. It also forces the public to reconsider whether these restrictions are purely about safety or if they are a method of maintaining control over the market, protecting part scarcity, or preserving exclusivity. In doing so, Armstrong's project becomes a commentary on broader industry practices, questioning the balance between genuine safety concerns and corporate gatekeeping in a world where hypercars exist as symbols of status, engineering, and rarity. Bugatti's silence can also be interpreted as a long-term strategic maneuver designed to protect legal and intellectual property interests. By not issuing statements in response to Armstrong or commentary from other YouTubers, the company is maintaining a neutral yet powerful stance. Every video Armstrong posts, every step he documents, becomes part of a public record, which Bugatti could theoretically reference if legal action were needed in the future. This approach allows the company to observe without committing to a position that could be used against it later. It also reinforces the perception that Bugatti's policies are not negotiable and that independent restoration projects must navigate these constraints without expecting official assistance. The choice to remain silent in a highly publicized controversy is a subtle but effective assertion of control, demonstrating the company's ability to influence outcomes without direct engagement. At the same time, the community debate surrounding Armstrong's project highlights the evolving nature of public engagement in the automotive world. Fans and enthusiasts now have access to unprecedented amounts of information through YouTube, social media, and online forums. Technical details, corporate statements, and independent analysis are shared in real time, creating a dynamic where manufacturers' reputations are constantly under scrutiny. Armstrong's Chiron rebuild exemplifies this shift. His videos, commentary, and methodical documentation allow the public to assess Bugatti's claims, potentially exposing contradictions or highlighting areas where independent expertise matches or surpasses factory standards. Bugatti, by remaining silent, acknowledges the power of this platform without attempting to control it overtly. This interplay between transparency, control, and observation illustrates the changing balance of authority in the automotive industry, where influence is no longer solely derived from official branding, but also from public perception and documented proof. Furthermore, Armstrong's work demonstrates the technical capabilities and limitations of independent specialists. By showcasing methods that rival or exceed factory-level repair standards, he challenges assumptions about what constitutes impossible restoration work. The project underscores the importance of skill, preparation, and access to knowledge, rather than reliance on proprietary tools alone. When independent specialists successfully navigate such a complex project, it raises questions about the necessity of manufacturer monopolies over repair, calibration, and certification. Armstrong's rebuild is not just an act of passion. It is an experiment in whether modern hypercars can be responsibly maintained and restored outside of the factory ecosystem. His success or failure will influence future debates about repair rights, aftermarket support, and the broader relationship between hypercar owners and manufacturers. Finally, the narrative of silence versus engagement serves as a fascinating case study in brand management and corporate strategy. Bugatti has created a scenario in which the story unfolds almost entirely under its own terms. By issuing a single authoritative video and refraining from further commentary, the company projects confidence, controls the pace of information, and allows natural discussion to highlight Armstrong's efforts without elevating criticism. This strategy is unusual in an age dominated by instant responses, press statements, and social media interactions, but it demonstrates the power of restraint. Silence, in this case, becomes a form of influence, strategic, calculated, and multifaceted. It shifts attention onto the challenger, frames the narrative as a test of skill and ingenuity, and positions Bugatti as an authority that does not need to prove itself through continual argument. In doing so, Bugatti maintains control, observes the public reaction, and allows reality, rather than rhetoric, to shape perceptions of both the Chiron and Armstrong's remarkable restoration. Mat Armstrong, the man famous for rebuilding crash-damaged supercars, has taken on his most ambitious project yet, a wrecked Bugatti Chiron. What could have been just another rebuild has turned into a major story about the tension between ultra-luxury car makers, independent specialists, and owners who want more control over their vehicles. At the center of this drama is Bugatti, a company that has chosen to stay silent as Armstrong pushes forward. Their lack of response has sparked debate across the automotive world, raising questions about brand control, customer rights, and the limits of what owners can do with these rare machines. Armstrong's Chiron project isn't just a technical feat, it's a test of skill, courage, and ingenuity in a space where mistakes are costly and rules are strict. The controversy began when Mat Rimac, CEO of Bugatti Rimac, released a detailed video explaining why the company would not officially support Armstrong's Chiron rebuild. The video, nearly 10 minutes long, carefully outlined technical and safety reasons for their stance. Rimac didn't dismiss Armstrong outright. Instead, he described the strict protocols Bugatti uses for every structural repair, including safety checks, airbag calibration with proprietary equipment, and factory-level verification. He also explained the need for specialized lifts, climate-controlled workshops, and containment systems for exotic materials. Technicians must undergo intensive training before touching a Chiron. Rimac stressed that even minor mistakes in repairing the carbon fiber monocoque chassis could be catastrophic. The video positioned Bugatti as a guardian of safety, not just a brand protecting profit. Despite the company's careful explanation, the community responded quickly. Armstrong left thoughtful, measured comments questioning part availability and repair feasibility. FXG, a prominent automotive YouTuber, made a video analyzing Bugatti's claims, comparing them with industry standards and independent repair experiences. Armstrong followed up with his own video, highlighting contradictions and showing that some parts claimed as proprietary are shared with other Volkswagen Group vehicles. Suddenly, what started as a technical rebuild became a public debate. Yet, despite growing discussion, Bugatti did not respond. Days passed. Weeks passed. Their silence was deliberate, creating suspense and leaving everyone, Armstrong included, guessing about their true intentions. This silence has been interpreted in two ways. Some believe Bugatti cares deeply about the rebuild and is staying silent to avoid exposing vulnerabilities. If Armstrong succeeds, questions about parts, airbag systems, and repair difficulty could challenge the Chiron's image as an untouchable hypercar. Others believe Bugatti simply does not care. Their initial video laid out the facts and reasoning, and responding further would elevate Armstrong's efforts unnecessarily. Both interpretations highlight the power of silence. It forces the burden of proof onto Armstrong, maintains brand authority, and keeps